In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use JSTOR, which is an online data bank of primarily journals, some books, some pamphlets. This has the advantage over other search engines like Google Scholar because JSTOR actually catalogs and stores the articles available, which means that you don't have to go someplace else to get a hold of them. They're right here on the website. Now first, when you log on to jstor.org, you need to make sure that it reads your access to JSTOR provided by Universität Hint. It'll be right here. If it's not, you need to do one of two things. You need to use a computer that is part of the University of Ghent's network. So one of the computers at the computer lab or in the Boekentoren. Or you need to make your own private computer part of the network, which you can do via the VPN, the Virtual Private Network. And there are instructions on how to set up the VPN and install it on your own computer over at the help desk. The instructions are in English and available in Dutch. They're easy to follow. You can be up and running in a matter of minutes. Now, the other thing to know about JSTOR is that aside from this login, there's an additional login right here. Click login, and you need to set up a My JSTOR account. And there are a few good reasons for that, which I'll show you in a minute. But type in your JSTOR username and your JSTOR password. And if you don't have one, register. It only takes a few minutes. Then the registration information is sent to your email account and you can get going right away. And automatically you can see that this little box up here has expanded. It says welcome, my name. More importantly, it allows you to save citations so you can keep track of everything that you're looking at. Does take a little while to load, especially if you've saved as many citations as I have. But these are all citations relating to my own research. It'll also do other things. If one of these is being tracked, that is to say, I've hit track on the citation, it'll notify me if someone references this in a paper. And that way you can keep track of who is citing the literature that you're using and how. I'm going to click on one that I'm not tracking at the moment. And the way that you track citations is you come over here, and this is only an option if you have a JSTOR account. You hit Citation Tools. There are your options. Save citation, which again you can only do if you have a My JSTOR account. Export citation, and then track citation. You can also email the citation directly to your email account, the one that you've registered. And see, citation alert has been created, and I will receive an email when this item has been cited. So there are very good reasons for setting up your own personal JSTOR account. It allows you to do much more with the database. However, you don't need such an account in order to use the search functions. You just have to be logged in to the University of Ghent network. Now, you can do a simple search, and the easiest way to do that is by typing in a keyword or an author's last name into this field and just hitting search. One of the more interesting options, especially if you're working on a paper where you're required to present historiography, and that goes in particular for your bachelor's proof and your master's, is to look for book reviews. Book reviews often contain other authors' critiques of various monographs. And that's very handy for citing in the historiographical sections of your papers. The easiest way to get them is to hit the author's last name, in this instance, Kagan, and then at least part of the title, Cleo and the Crown in this instance, which is a book about Spanish historiography, primarily of the 16th century. And I'm just going to hit simple search. And immediately, what we have are reviews. These are well worth reading and using. They will make your work so much easier when you're putting together a historiography, because they're going to contain what's good about the book and what's bad about the book. And it won't just be your opinion anymore. It'll be the opinion of another historian. Of course, you'll have to look these people up to see who they are. But it is a good way to be as thorough as possible. Now, the other thing that you'll notice when you hit search, when the results come back, you have 4 tabs here: all results, journals, books, pamphlets. If you want to narrow this down, and we do have 80 search results here, you can click on one of these tabs and it will automatically only bring up journals, books, or pamphlets. The other thing that you can do, because you won't necessarily have immediate access to all content, is click Content I Can Access. Although the disadvantage of doing that is that you then don't see the results that you can't automatically download to your computer. Sometimes it's worth looking at all content, provided that there's not too many search results. And even the things that you can't access immediately via JSTOR, you can save that citation, provided you have a JSTOR account, and email it to yourself, and that way you can try and get a hold of it in another fashion, through the UGent Book and Torrent, for example. We're going to look at the advanced search now. And you have several options here. You can enter certain search terms and then indicate what field in the reference they should be located in. Easiest ones to use are author and item title and abstract. And if you don't think that you're being specific enough in these two fields, you can even add other fields. Or you can exclude certain items by saying, yes, I want what appears in this box, but not what appears in this box. You can narrow by type: articles, books, pamphlets, reviews. So you can search specifically for reviews. You can narrow it by date range. You can narrow it by language, although narrowing it by language on JSTOR is not really worth your time because almost everything that they have is in English. There are occasionally things in Spanish, but you're not going to get so many results out of Spanish that it's worth it just to hit English. You can also look for the publication title. If you know the journal in which the article appears, or you only want to search within a particular journal, this is the field that you use. And you can narrow it by discipline or journal. I personally would not do that. Some journals are categorized in one discipline when they could quite easily be in another discipline. Like some of the journals in American Indian Studies could also be in American Studies. But if you only click American Studies, these 9 titles won't come up. And there are a lot of options for field and then after that particular journal type. I would not hit just history. Yes, it's going to search through 468 titles, but occasionally publications are going to appear in other fields as well that may be interesting for your work. For example, Middle East studies, philosophy, political science, population studies, religion. So I would just leave that field open. So long as your search terms are specific enough, there's not really a lot of reason to narrow it down to field and study. To get back to the simplest search, just hit JSTOR Home. And I'm going to search for Richard Allen, who was the Cardinal of England during the time of Elizabeth I. I'm doing some research about him. I want to see what does JSTOR have. Now, automatically I can see that it's bringing up everything with the name Richard Allen, and they're not necessarily going to be terms next to each other. It could be a guy named Richard and then a guy named Allen. Plus, I've got 139,000 results. That's too many to go through one by one. This is where using the advanced search, because it's such a generic name, where that's going to come in handy. So I'm going to put Richard Allen, the name, into the full text. And because I know that he was the Cardinal of England, I'm going to put Cardinal in this field, and that will help narrow down my search results. It will bring me closer to finding literature on this specific person. Just to be safe, I'm going to add Elizabeth the First. And I have automatically found something that looks interesting. It's a little dated. It's from 1959. But it's a note on Cardinal Allen's political thought. That's perfect for what I want at this point in time. So I'm going to click on this, which is going to save the citation to my citation list in my personal account. And then I'm going to click on the title. And clicking on the title will bring up the PDF. So I can scan through this, flip to the next page, read a little further, and see, is this something that I really want? Is this going to be useful for what I'm working on? And if it is, then I can just hit download PDF. A window will open containing the PDF, which you can then save to your computer, and it'll appear on your desktop. Normally, what will first happen is a little window will open asking if you understand JSTOR's terms and conditions. But if you are logged in through a personal account on JSTOR, it doesn't do that anymore. I'm just going to close that up. Interestingly, you can also see information about the journal that this appears in. As well as the years that JSTOR has indexed and obtained. Something else that you can do, you can look at references. And what this does is it removes all of the citations from the article and organizes them. So this footnote, the first footnote, has 2 citations. And in this way, you can get a hold of the literature that the article is based on and the source material. You can see that without actually having to read the article or to be distracted while you're reading going along. This is much easier, and it makes it less distracting to do it this way. So read the article first and then come to JSTOR, look at the online version, and hit the references. And being able to see the literature used this way, that'll make it a lot easier to get a hold of more information, to flesh out your historiography, to look for other argumentation. It's a nice little service. It's useful.